here. It's Trap Thursday again, babies. And I'm here to let you know we got traps to talk about. I mean, what else is there to talk about? That's all I care about in life. I think I made this obvious last time. So, but I want to talk about something that's dear to my heart, okay? My guest last week told me about internet trolls, and so I looked them up, and they're not trolls at all. They're just a bunch of like basement dwelling humans. They're always on message boards and I don't know, talking bad about people, which, I'm okay with that. It's a little rude, but I can get by. But they're not trolls, and I don't want to be associated with them at all. So I looked up an image of a troll guy, and I was like, well, I can do this a lot better. So let's throw that picture up real quick for the audience. Now, if you think you can outdo my troll face, you go right ahead and send it to www.com. You can't do it better than I can.com. Wait, is that how it works? I'm still getting used to this whole internet thing. Okay, so without further ado, let's get to the real nitty-gritty we got going on this Thursday, and that's traps. Traps! My first guest is a D&D author whose works are still in the ether of the universe. They have not yet materialized, but they will. And when they do, you're just gonna bow down to its glory and essence. And that is Mr. Scott Moore. Let's bring him on in. All right, hey Scott, how's it going? You're muted, Scott. All right, you know what? Try to talk good about you. And this
I'm
is
sorry. I was saying I was saying a whole bunch of curse words, so I just self-muted myself.
Oh,
so
all right.
Now that I've got that out of my system, thanks for having me on tonight.
Oh, hey, well, thanks for writing these traps for me in my new book. Now, obviously, some of the folks out there, they know about this book, but some of them don't. And let me tell you, there is going to be a backer kit campaign for a brand new book of Grimtooth's old school traps for 5th edition and DCC RPG. And I'm sure we're going to flash a link up in that chat real quick. And if you haven't signed up, you better do it, because we got a free trap for everybody that signs up. Oh, yeah. All right. So, Scott, you got some traps for me, and I want to hear all about them, and so do my fans. So let's talk about the magnetic armbands first.
All right. So the magnetic armbands, this was kind of cool because when you think of traps, you think of all the mechanical traps that are typically in the DMG and sources like that. But the book kind of took the approach that all traps aren't necessarily like that. They could be cursed or tweaked items, maybe cursed magic items or things like that. They have different effects.
Oh, yeah.
And they're not all horribly lethal. So I know some DMs may be, well, I don't want to put in a whole bunch of lethal traps. There's a bunch of fun stuff in there too. The magnetic armbands appeared as regular bracers. They could be braces of archery. They could be braces of armor. Who knows? When you put them on, you find out they are, once you attune to them, they are magnetically attracted to one another. So your character is forced to keep their two hands together. You can do a strength check and pull them apart, but once you do, they're still magnets, so they're pulled back to one another. So unless you can get some sort of remove curse to get those off, you are fighting and acting with your two hands attached to one another for as long as you have them on.
Now, in 5e terms, that would give you what, a disadvantage roll or something like that?
You are limited in your choice in your operation of weapons and equipment because you can't essentially move your arms independently. You can actually injure yourself, and you could inflict damage to yourself in trying to separate them by straining to pull them apart as well.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I've pulled a couple of ligaments in my time lifting, but, it always gets better, baby.
Obviously, it's paid off for you.
Oh, yeah. I use the magnetic armbands while I'm lifting, and I just attach all the weights to it. And, but we're talking about humans here in PCs. We're not talking about trolls.
We're a much more delicate species.
Very true. Very true. just tear apart so easy, like wet paper. All right, so it's just magnetic. It doesn't have to be armbands though. It could be you could use this and manipulate it and make some shoes that are attached together or something, right? Too, if you wanted
Absolutely.
to.
Yep. So that's
Same
the other
mechanics
thing
would
is there's
work.
a lot of the original Grimtooth traps. They're great in and of themselves, but if you look at them and you think about them for a while, you know what? I could think of something to make this just a little bit nastier, or I could tweak this a little bit and put it in some different way that the party won't expect it. So for a lot of the mechanical traps, there's additional suggestions of, okay, so if you don't want to present the trap just the way it is, you want to go like 1 degree nastier or 2 degrees nastier, here's some additional stuff to throw in. So
all right, nice. I love it. Let's move on to Rocky Point. Is that the one?
Rocky Point, yep. Rocky Point I like because it is, when you think of traps in D&D, especially like for low level parties, non-complicated things, pit traps are like the obvious one. You have like a covered floor section, and whoever's in the front of the marching order falls into the pit trap. You take some falling damage. Maybe there's some spikes or something in the bottom.
Sure.
That's pretty common. Everybody has seen that trap. So use that same basis for Rocky Point, except you don't immediately fall to the bottom of the trap. You fall midway down the trap and you hit a net.
Oh,
the net is perfectly balanced between several boulders. So if any additional weight hits the net then falls the rest of the way, pulling the boulders that are securing it. So not only do you fall down the pit trap, hit some nasty spikes and whatever else you have at the bottom of the trap, you then have 2 boulders collapsing in on top of you.
Oh,
or whoever fell into the trap.
Nasty.
And like with any pit traps, whenever you say, I could use a pit trap, you know what, let's tweak it and make it a little bit nastier. You could have poison on the spikes at the bottom. You could have the net that's halfway down could be coated in like alchemist fire or oil. And the boulders, when they impact each other collapsing, they could cause a spark and you could ignite the entire thing, which is now hidden under 2 boulders at the bottom of the 20-foot, 30-foot, 40-foot pit.
You humans got a real sense of just the macabre, and that's why I keep hiring you. Thousands of years of wars and turmoil and plague and disease. I mean, who else better than humans to write this stuff?
As a species, we have a pretty good history with the macabre and the dangerous.
Yeah, I love it. We do have somebody in the chat that's saying, going back to the braziers there, if you try and hold a sword, could it be repelled because of the magnets? So yeah, that's a good take. Like you try to reach for your sword, but the depending on which side, I guess the magnets are, it could be like fly away from you.
Yep. As written, it doesn't go into that detail, but like I said, everything is kind of open-ended to give you some suggestions for other ways you may implement stuff. So yeah, you could even have, if it's on the left side of you, it's going to go away. If it's on the right side of you, it's always going to be drawn to you. So you're going to have, nails and coins and whatever else stuck to your one side and can't pick up anything on your other side.
Yeah. You're walking through town and just everything's getting attracted to you, and shopkeepers are getting mad and think you're stealing stuff. And next thing you know, you got the town guard on you. Be amazing.
For the spectators, it would be amazing. Not necessarily for the participant, but for the spectators, it would be amusing. It would make a great story.
Right, exactly. We got an amazing, was it Jinsu Shoot? Speaking of amazing,
the Jinsu Shoot, yes.
Jinsu.
So another, based on your standard pit trap, floor falls away, you drop down a chute. Further down the chute, however, the chute splits into 2 smaller chutes.
Oh, yeah.
With what is essentially a razor blade separating the 2 of them. So depending on how you fall, there's a chance that half of you will go down each of the other 2 chutes. Or if you're heavily armored and you have some sort of dexterity, you might actually just impact on the razor, which would be uncomfortable, but better than having 2 halves of you go down 2 separate chutes. Unfortunately, it's not very easy to climb back up the chute. So you could attempt to do so, but should you slip and fall, you then go back down the chute and impact the razor blade a second or a third or a fourth or a fifth time.
Ooh, that's nasty. That's nasty. That reminds me of those Saw movies. I checked those out. Those are some of my favorite movies now. Man. Yeah, that's a nasty one. Ooh. So you know, these I don't think 5th edition has too many maiming rules where you lose an arm or limb. Are we implementing any of that in there? Or is it just you know, it really takes a hit to your hit points or automatically makes you do a death save? What's the stats there?
They're written by pure 5e rules. So yes, it would be essentially slashing damage. But the optional adjustments that I spoke about before, that, you know, if you think this isn't quite nasty enough, you want to amp up the nastiness a little bit. There is the option of essentially adding like a meat grinder to the end of the chutes, which really amps up the inconvenience of the amazing Jinsu Shoot.
Oh yeah, not getting out of that one too easy, folks. So if you got pests
you
in
might
your
get
dungeon,
out easily, but little pieces of you get out individually quite easy.
Exactly. You can be put back together. You know, these 5th edition players, they got necromancers in their parties these days. I mean, anything's possible, right?
Worst case, sovereign glue. You might not look the same, but it'll get you all back together.
All right, what else we got? Air the Weld. Tell me about that one.
Air the Weld. This one I like because I have a background in physics. So I like when people do nasty things with science, which is essentially what air the well is. Air the well is something you would put at the end of a trap you would put at the end of a corridor. And it's one of those, I don't know if I want to describe it as an obvious trap, but that's probably the best way to put it. There's nothing hidden about it. You see it, but you don't quite know what to make of it. At the end of a corridor, you'll come upon what is essentially a transparent wall, a glass wall or invisible wall or something like that. There's a small chamber on the other side, and the back wall is covered by hooks, spikes, barbs, and a sort of nasty looking thing. It looks like essentially a torture chamber with a viewer's wall into the torture chamber. There is no obvious entrance that you can see within the chamber. So if the characters decide they want to go in there and explore, they'd have to break this invisible glass wall that's separating them. The trap comes in that the chamber on the other side is a complete vacuum. So once the glass is broken, the pressure in the hallway tries to equalize, and everything in the hallway within 30 feet of that glass wall gets sucked into the room that has the back wall with all the spikes and hooks and nastiness on it.
Very nice.
If that's not nasty enough for you,
never is.
The spikes and the nasty things on the back wall can be heated and treated with sodium and kept from combusting by the fact that they're surrounded by a vacuum. However, once the wall breaks and the characters are sucked into there, the air is enough to ignite and combust, and you essentially have a fireball-like effect on top of being pulled into all the nasty, pointy, jabby bits.
That sounds amazing. Barbecue and skewered.
Yes, it's essentially a shish kebab in a round.
Excellent. That sounds amazing.
Again, for the viewers, not necessarily for the participants.
Again, yes. So yeah. Do we I think we got a little more time. Is there a special item or anything that you happen to work on, or something else you might want to talk about?
Let's see. In relation to the traps or Goodman games in general?
The traps here.
The traps. I did one other trap. What was the other one I did?
Putting you on the spot, I know.
That's okay. The other one I did was the fire and ice trap. Now,
let's talk about that.
And I'm buying myself some time here as I'm waiting for it, because I'm bringing up the documents to refresh my memory. What a lot of people don't necessarily realize is when you work on these projects, the production period and the time it takes to generate the art and the formatting and stuff like that. By the time it's like almost ready to go, you're like, I wrote that like a year ago. What was that again? The fifth trap I wrote was called Fire and Ice.
Great movie.
This is essentially a harmless trap that you can walk right on by and do nothing to, but player characters being player characters, somebody is going to do something to mess with stuff, and things are going to go horribly wrong.
Of course.
The trap is essentially an entire room. There are nasty looking spikes covering one wall, and opposite that there is a door, and there are two trap doors in the ceiling. If they open the door across the room, in comes a torrent of spring water, and the room is locked and secured, and the water level begins to rise. So it's essentially a drowning trap. If they try to escape by opening the trapdoors, one trapdoor is filled with sodium, which will combust upon contact with water. So the chamber turns into water up to a certain level and essentially instantaneous fire above that point. And the other chamber is, what's that?
There's a lot of chemistry in this one.
A lot of chemistry in these, yes. Behind the other is a chamber filled with crystals, which cause the water to freeze. So you can pick your type of misery depending on which trapdoor in the ceiling you open. There is, if memory serves on this one, it's been a while since I looked at this one. I believe I shouldn't say it in case there's any future players here. The easy way out of this trap, I believe, is to do nothing, because I think the water level fills to a certain level and then stops, and then the room empties in 5 minutes.
So if you don't panic, nothing will happen.
You don't panic, and you just like tread water or take a potion of water breathing and don't muck with anything for 5 minutes, you'll be fine. But there's doors, and when there's doors, somebody has to open them just because.
Exactly, yeah. No one's got to not open a door. Yeah, I like that one. It's as much trapping your mind as it is your body.
Yes. And it's another one of those simple, it's not a lot of magic to it. It's kind of all mechanical and scientific effects. So It's not like, it's all practical effects that are essentially just unleashed because you pulled the wrong thing open repeatedly.
Who's going to wait around? Don't touch anything in the comments. Of course, no one's going to wait around. That's absolutely the whole point. Great. So, Scott, do you have any advice for our future delvers out there who are who may not be purchasing the book and using it as a judge, but may become victims for those people that do judge these traps? What sort of advice do you have?
I would advise, get to your game sessions early, and if you happen to see this book stacked next to your DM's screen, always suggest someone talk about how poor your perception is, and get somebody else in the party, talk them up to be the guy who goes in the front and does all the perception checks and undoes the locks and the checks for traps and do that. You just stick in the background near the cleric. That'd be the best you can do.
Sounds like a good plan. And maybe even bring the DM a little snack every once in a while.
Or tell them they're very nice looking. That's what my
Compliments go a long way.
Once everybody's in the room, the first person to say, "Ma, you're looking quite lovely tonight," to whoever the DM is that night, they're pretty much assured they aren't going to die.
Love it. All right, Scott. Well, thank you for joining us. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Can't wait to get your traps published and out there for the world to read and to suffer. So,
I look forward to their suffering.
Me too. Always looking forward to that. So I think we got a commercial break, and then we'll be right back with my second guest. Stay tuned. Grimtooth Patrol here to let you know they got a brand new book coming to town. That's right, Grimtooth Old School Traps. Not just for anybody. Oh no, if you put these in your game, they're gonna get killed. Oh yeah, we got 150 new traps statted up and ready to go. All you gotta do is insert them right into that dungeon of yours. Oh yeah. Listen here, we got traps that slice and dice, mince and mash and smash and pass. Oh yeah, we got them all, baby, and everything's gonna be blood smeared. We gotta have to get a mop up in here. We got so many traps! Now, I don't want you to miss out on this, That's why I made it easy. All you gotta do is scan this code right here or hit the link. It'll take you right to the backer kit page where the campaign's gonna be. Oh yeah! And you can be there day one. Get you a special treat. Maybe, I don't know. Nobody tells me. Oh, I'm back. I hope you like those commercials, and I hope you click the link so that you can get to the backer kit page on launch day. Otherwise, I may have to come and eat you. And I don't really want to do that because you guys give me a lot of indigestion. And I ran out of Tums earlier, and I don't want to go to the store. Look, it's a big thing, okay? So just click the link. That's all I'm asking. All right, my next guest is a DCC fave. Him and I go way back to our university days at trap school, and I like to bring him on, Mr. James Ponzanell. Let's bring you on. Hey, how's it going, James? I haven't seen you since college.
Grimtooth, it's been too long.
It really has, man. You remember our chant? Traps, traps, traps. Everybody loves them. Traps, traps, traps. Don't gotta hug them. Traps, traps, traps. I kind of forgot the rest. But wild times. You know, the biggest problem was that school was a trap, and we didn't even know about it because I'm still paying loans. Even Grimtooth's got school loans, guys. It's a tough world out there.
I've only recently discharged my own, so it's
oh, congratulations.
Yeah.
I've discharged a lot of bows, but other than that, nothing else.
Oh, Grimtooth.
Okay, so moving on. All right, I'm sure you didn't want to hear all that, folks. Let's talk about some traps. Now, you're working on the traps for the DCC book, correct?
I am.
All right, and so what do we got today? We got
I got a theme for you.
Oh,
see if you can detect the theme.
I will see if I can.
So the first trap is a shower of gold.
Ooh, you know I love me some gold, baby.
And showers.
Not combined, though.
Okay, that's weird. That's not the Grimtooth I remember from college. Okay.
Things have changed. It's been a while.
All right. Shower of gold is a corridor trap, so it kind of occurs as the party is walking through an area, perhaps, and there's a lever, and this lever, it says above it, treasure vault release. Of course, you put a sign on a lever. What's going to happen?
A fool's going to pull it.
A fool is going to pull it. Now, what happens is the corridor, the floor of the corridor collapses and they fall into a pit. Okay. All right.
I've heard this before, James.
That's level one. That's just like a little amuse-bouche, right? A little bit of damage just to start off with. And who knows what's in the bottom of that pit? That's up to you, right?
Sure.
However, it actually does release 4,620 cubic feet of gold coins.
Ooh.
Yeah. So an opening above the corridor, a 4x4 foot opening, starts releasing all these coins as you're in this pit. Now, Grimtooth, I really appreciate the architecture of these traps, but the implementation requires a little bit of math and science here, and as we've seen already, like there's
that's why we went to college.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's true. It's college. So I pulled out my slide rule and I started to do some computations of like, well, if I have 4,620 cubic feet of gold, how much is that? In a practical sense, in the sense of going into a corridor-shaped pit. So I really appreciate that the implementers of this trap have to do a bit of math, and it doesn't stop. Right. It doesn't stop with how many cubic, how much 4,620 cubic feet fits into, and roughly, I think I mentioned that can fit into a 10-foot wide, 10-foot deep, 45-foot long corridor pit. So there you go. I have to do some math already to figure out how big the pit's got to be to take all this gold in. The next thing I had to do is figure out flow rates of how many cubic feet can flow through a 4-foot opening, and how many seconds does it take to discharge the whole thing. So I'm out there on a website trying to look up flow rates for pipes and doing all this math, and it turns out this was great, because it turns out it takes about 6 seconds for all those gold pieces to fall into the corridor, into the pit trap.
Wow.
Which is a little less than a full round in DC. Right. So in a round, you're done. Unless
you got a reflex save or something.
Yeah. So one of the things is you get like there's a trigger for the trap, and then there's some sort of there can be initiative for the trap. So the trap gets an initiative roll. And so in this particular case, it is an initiative trap. So everybody who's fallen into the pit now gets to kind of react, right? And they could maybe get out in time, maybe not. But once the traps kind of, falls into the initiative order, that means, all the gold's fallen, and that's the end of the story.
Yeah, in that one round.
Yeah, one round. And you would think that, okay, so you've fallen in, you've taken some damage. When I was kind of figuring out what to do with this trap, I was like, well, what should it be damage from like stuff falling on you? And I kind of rejected that idea, and I thought like it would be way better if they suffocate, if they're basically drowned, and it kind of like you hear these terrible stories of people dying inside of like grain silos, right? They're walking the grain down, and then all of a sudden they find a void and they fall in it, and they're like crushed by hundreds and thousands of pounds of corn.
Yeah, I look for those stories a lot in the news. That's one of my favorite pastimes, actually.
Yeah. So that's the direction I took with it. Is like, okay, you're trapped in here, and you're gonna die from suffocation. So I pulled in the drowning, some drowning mechanics, I think from the water elemental, and that's kind of like that's how it's gonna go down.
So it's gonna be a stamina loss per round unless you can like swim your way out.
Yes, exactly.
Gotcha. Well, that sounds awesome. Horrible and also amazing. And
it was a great trap.
Love it. Death by gold.
Death by gold.
That's what you get for being greedy and diving into my dungeon at night and waking me up. You're gonna get smashed by gold.
It's a great trap. Four skulls on that one.
4 skulls.
4 skulls.
Nice. That's a deadly one for sure.
That's a deadly one. You expect some problems with that.
All right, what else we got? Let me see.
What else we got?
Right. The cup of golden mead. Delicious.
Do we know what the theme is?
I'm not picking up on it yet, man.
Okay. All right. Cup of golden mead. This is kind of it's a magical trap. There's basically the inventor of the trap says there's could be kind of a sideboard laden with goblets, each containing a magical drink of golden mead. However, this one's a 5 skull rated trap. I'm not going to lie. So your only kind of ways to kind of figure out what's going on with this is maybe a detect magic spell.
Right.
And
dirty scroll sniffer can maybe sniff out there might be some magic around there or something.
Exactly. And the only way really to kind of get rid of it is a dispel magic. And the spell check is high. This is 5 skulls. We're not kidding around here.
So are we talking like 25, 30?
36.
36.
You got to hit the top, almost the top of that dispel magic.
You're gonna need some spell burn for that one, baby.
You're gonna be burning out the luck when you realize you ain't got it.
That's right.
And this one's a serious business. Because it's if anyone drinks it, they're dead. Boom. No saving throw, nothing. You drank
Nothing.
it turns into molten gold when it passes your lips.
Nasty.
So skulls, baby.
So that's not even, there's no even roll over the body rules for this one. Like it's just done. Or are we still sticking with that?
I think you might be able to roll the body. I don't say you can't here, but you're definitely going straight to 0.
Straight to 0, right?
Yeah,
I'd be pretty hard to even as a judge to be like, oh well, maybe you have to roll your body roll with like a D30 on that one, really make it tough.
Yeah, you could definitely do that. That'd be good. I mean, in fact, the kind of the denouement of the trap is you could go ahead and kind of carve into your fallen comrade and pull out the the ingot of gold that's kind of solidified inside their body.
Yeah, and it's all lined like their esophagus and stuff.
Yeah, you just go ahead and pull it out.
They don't need it.
They don't need it. You do.
That's right. Oh man, gruesome.
It's pretty gruesome. I like that one a lot.
Yeah, that's a good one. All right, we got one more to talk about here, James.
One more.
And let's see. Now I ain't too good with words. What's this one called?
Ariadne's Revenge. If you would have paid a little bit more attention in classics, literature class.
I had other things on my mind.
I understand. The lady trolls.
They were there.
The lady trolls need.
Oh, yeah, I was chasing some lady's troll skirt.
As you do. Anyway, Ariadne's the story of a weaver. Just to kind of recap for the people who maybe missed their classic literature class.
I got an F. It's me. You can just say it. Fine. Okay.
And she's makes beautiful cloth, and she's highly, she's amazing. Everybody loves her work. Super jealous, in fact, of her work. And I think is it Hera that comes along and kind of curses her to be a spider, so that she can continue to weave as spider webs instead of like beautiful cloth or something to that effect. I think maybe Jupiter takes her as a mistress, and that I can't really remember all the details, but Ariadne is this weaver who's cursed and turned into a spider.
Gotcha.
Okay.
So now that we know that, okay, thanks for our history lesson there, Professor. Thanks,
man. So this one is actually an interesting trap in that it's kind of like the end, or maybe like a boss for a dungeon, in a sense, is that as soon as they get in there, the adventurers find this golden thread in the corridors, and they're all in these threads are all leading back to one particular place, and they can ignore the thread, right? Or they could go ahead and try to find out what's at the end of these golden threads, right? So it's a little bit of a
killed the cat.
Yeah. So they're able to kind of like make some decisions. I think there's a bit of a brief compulsion that's on the threads that might make them the party. It's not a very high save. It's like a DC 10 will save to kind of resist this compulsion to seek the source of the thread. Right. But so it's this bit of this mystery, right? Like why are these here? What are they doing? Is it gold? Yes, dwarf, it's gold. You can smell it.
You can smell it.
And so everybody's going to get amped up on this one, right? And they just can't help. They're not going to be able to help themselves, really, right?
Sure.
And they're going to take this thread all the way back to its source. And when I was developing this trap, I got pretty excited because of the demon, the queen of the demon web pits, which is kind of mentioned in the DCC spells in the spider web spell.
Yes.
Right. And so it's this oblique reference, right? I've played around with who the demon queen of the spider pits is in Angels, Demons, and Beings Between Volume 2, but I kept it kind of still vanilla and kind of mysterious. But I developed a demon, like a class. It was a class 3 demon at the time, a type 3 demon at the time of this this beautiful like lithe spider, all just this of shiny gold, like just golden spider. And instead of little kind of manipulators that pick up its prey, it's got these two beautiful slender golden arms coming out of its kind of facial area. And so this is the thing that's like made the web, Ariadne's web, this trap. Now you could do anything else, right? Like you develop your own monster or develop your own spider, or however you want to do it. It's
cool that this is a throwback, though, to like ties into these other things.
Yes.
I like that.
This is probably my favorite trap. And so when I developed it, it was a type 3 demon. And it's a pretty serious demon. There's some bad stuff coming with this demon. And I said to Michael Curtis, who was the developer on the DCC side, I said, you're probably going to want to raise the skulls up to 5, I think. This one's pretty serious. And then he said to me, no, make it 3 skulls. So I had to like bring it down a notch. And I was a little bummed.
Mike, why you gotta be like that?
Why can't it just be 5 skulls?
Why can't they all be 5 skulls?
All be 5 skulls.
I've been complaining about that since the beginning, man. All these 1 skull ones. Oh god, yeah. You don't even get me started.
You're gonna put one of these traps in. It's gonna be some chintzy, rinky-dink thing.
You're gonna be throwing teddy bears at people. Come on.
So anyway, I took it down a notch. It's still bad. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm gonna raise it when I do
it. It throws. Let's see what's in here. It's got like a poison breath, like a golden poison breath. That can like liquefy you, turn you into like a puddle of gold. So
to recap, we've got this string that's too curious not to figure out what's going on in this thread, and they're following it, and it leads to the spider's lair.
Yeah,
is that what we're saying?
Yeah,
nice.
Yeah, and so she's there, this Aurelian spider demon, and it's bad juju. She bites you, and it's a fort save or die. You're gonna and no roll in the body this time, bro.
Ooh.
You turn it into a puddle of gold.
Oh, I was about to ask if you turn it into gold. A puddle of gold, though. That's something that's different.
It's serious business.
It is, yeah.
This is definitely my favorite right here. We did a bunch of them. It was a pleasure to work on the project, Grimtooth. I'm glad we got to reconnect.
Yeah, it's been a long time. We need to go out and get us some golden mead sometime. You know what I'm saying?
I'll just leave the golden mead to you.
Okay, all right, okay. I guess you remember that one time with what's his face? He had some a little party.
Man, getting the gold out of that guy was tough business.
It was tough to cut out, that's for sure.
Yeah, he was a bony guy.
All right, so well. Pleasure having you on. Pleasure having on my other guest, and I'm so happy to be having these Trap Thursdays with all of you out there in the internet world. And I gotta remind you, we got a backer kit page. You can sign up so you're ready to know day 1 on launch, and you get a free trap. And we got listen to these traps we got in this book. Can you deny that you don't want them? or that you do. I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. I can't even think. I'm so excited about these traps. The point is, I will find you if you don't click on that link, okay? I will come to your house and I will put a trap down in your mailbox.
Run, don't detect traps. Run and get this book.
That's right. All right. Thank you, folks. This is Grimtooth signing off.